I know why you clicked on this video. Your credit card statement arrived, and it's a constant struggle between the due date and payday. So you need to make it through the next few weeks without buying anything unnecessary. And maybe it feels like you've been stuck in this cycle forever. You've paid off a credit card, you promised yourself never again. But a few months later, you're back in the hole. So today, we want to talk about why this keeps happening and how you can stop this from happening. We talk a lot about getting out of debt here at Money Bill, but what we do when I'm talk enough about is how to stay out of debt, because that is equally important. Why does it keep happening? Well, most people treat debt like a math problem. They look at their income, subtract their expenses, and see how much they can save up, or Utang. But real life isn't that straightforward. In fact, behavior and emotion drive your spending. That's why we keep falling back into debt. You fall back into debt when you reward yourself too early after a small win. You don't have buffer savings, you have no system for emergencies, and you feel deprived and binge spend. Let's break each of these down. You fall back into debt when you reward yourself too early. Let's say you bought an overpriced dress online because it was on sale. When it arrives, you notice the stitching is bad and the color doesn't suit you. Instead of returning it, you decide to keep it since it's already paid for. Then you buy something else to cheer yourself up. Before you know it, you've spent double what you would have if you just waited for sales and bought the dress. Then, we've all been there before, right? We tend to overspend on things we don't really need, especially when they're on sale. It feels like a win, but it's really a trap. So here's how to avoid it. Identify your emotional and impulsive spending triggers. You can do this by identifying what spending habits you've engaged in during times of stress or sadness. Is it food delivery, online shopping, or going out with friends? Once you know your triggers, you can take steps to avoid them. If your go-to is food delivery, unsubscribe from food delivery apps and delete them from your phone. If it's online shopping, unfollow your favorite online stores and turn off notifications. If it's going out with friends, find alternative ways to socialize, like having a potluck at home instead of going to a restaurant. You fall back into debt when you don't have buffer savings. Emergencies happen when you least expect it. Your car suddenly breaks down, your pet needs an operation, or someone close to you gets sick. Emergencies will always arise, and it's how you deal with them that determines whether or not you fall back into debt. The first step to preventing this is to build a mini emergency fund. If you're starting from scratch, begin with saving 5,000 to 10,000 pesos. It may not seem like much, but it's a start. Set up a separate savings account or use a digital wallet, so it is easily accessible and won't be confused with your regular funds. Aim to save around 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses eventually. But for now, start with whatever you can manage. Having this buffer will help you avoid taking on debt when unexpected expenses arise. It'll also give you peace of mind knowing that you have something to fall back on. You fall back into debt when you have no system for emergencies. Even if you've got some savings tucked away, it won't help if you don't have a system for managing your finances. People often think budgeting is about deprivation and sacrifice, but it is really about setting clear goals and priorities so you can allocate your money where it matters most. So here's some tips on how to create a simple yet effective budgeting system. Track your income and expenses diligently. This is crucial to understanding where your money is going. If you aren't tracking your expenses, it's easy for small purchases to slip through the cracks and add up over time. You can use a simple spreadsheet or expense tracker app to do this. Set reminders for due dates so you don't miss any payments. Missed payments lead to late fees and interest charges, which can quickly spiral out of control. Organize your bills by due date and set calendar reminders, or use a bill payment app to stay on top of your payments. Create a list of your fixed and variable expenses. Fixed expenses are those that stay roughly the same each month, such as rent or loan payments. Variable expenses, on the other hand, can change from month to month, such as groceries or dining out. By understanding your expenses, you can identify areas where you can cut back if needed. Plan for irregular expenses. Life is full of surprises, from birthdays to car repairs. When you have a plan for these types of expenses, you won't be caught off guard and forced to rely on credit cards or loans. Look at your past spending and create a budget for irregular expenses. For example, if you know you typically spend around 10,000 pesos per year on gifts, set aside 833 pesos each month to cover these costs. Also, don't forget to include guilt-free fun in your budget. Depriving yourself entirely of the things you enjoy can lead to burnout and ultimately overspending. Guilt-free fun spending refers to the money you set aside each month for leisure activities or items that bring you joy within your means. Of course, this could include going out with friends, streaming services, or even buying the occasional treat for yourself. The key is to ensure this spending fits within your overall budget and doesn't derail your financial goals. By planning for these expenses, you won't be tempted to charge them on a credit card when the time comes. You fall back into debt when you feel deprived and binge. Okay, let's face it, restricting ourselves entirely rarely works in the long run. When we're feeling deprived, it's easy to lose motivation and fall off the wagon. Binge eating? Anyone. Or maybe it's online shopping. Anyone? When you deprive yourself entirely, you're more likely to overindulge later on, leading to a cycle of guilt and more overindulge. So here's how to overcome this tendency. Avoid extreme diets or all-or-nothing approaches to dieting. Instead, focus on making small, sustainable changes to your eating habits. Treat yourself occasionally. While it's important to limit impulsive spending, it's also essential to avoid feeling too restricted. Allow yourself occasional treats, within reason. Of course, this can help prevent feelings of deprivation that may lead to binge spending or eating. Find alternative activities that fit your budget. If you're looking to cut back on expensive hobbies, explore more affordable alternatives. For example, instead of going to an expensive restaurant, have a picnic in the park or invite friends over for a potluck dinner. Stay busy when you're bored or have too much time on your hands. It's easy to find yourself mindlessly scrolling through online shops or snacking on whatever you see. Keep yourself busy with activities that don't involve spending money, like reading, hiking, or taking up a new hobby. And if you need help finding ways to stay entertained without breaking the bank, we've got you covered. Check out our blog for more ideas. We know it can be tough to resist the temptation to spend, but it's important to remember that every small step you take today will lead you to financial freedom and security tomorrow. You don't need another lecture. You need a system that prevents you from sliding back. Download our Debt Leak Plug Kit inside the Piso Reset Guide. This guide includes budgeting sheets, spending triggers, checklist, and more. Follow us for more helpful tips. Remember, freedom should be permanent, not temporary.